So here we are once again. Welcome everybody to Family Matters with Dr. Q. And today we have a spectacular story to share with you of unexplained infertility. This is a couple that has made it through the highs and the lows of trying to start a family, and they're here to share their story with us, and also on the medical fraternity to say, guys, we may not know it all, but if you are there to go through it, we are here to help you and get the answers and get the results that we're looking for. So today I'm joined by Isak and Vicky Bester. So these lovely people have been my patients from last year.
Yes.
Is it 2022?
Yes.
2022. We started the journey of starting a family. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. And it's a different table we are sharing today. Okay, so yes, we are going to discuss your journey through IVF, your journey through trying to start a family, your difficulties, and your victories, okay? Because, hey, we're sitting in victory now. We're sitting on the other side. So maybe let's start by finding out, how did you guys meet, and what were the dreams and aspirations and all that romance and all of that? Tell us a bit.
Perfect. Yeah, so it's been 10 years now.
Wow.
Exactly 10 years ago, we stayed in the same complex in Joburg.
Okay.
So I was part of hosting quiz nights in our complex at the clubhouse.
You go, girl.
And Isak just moved in. He was looking to make some friends. So he was at the clubhouse almost every night, same as me. And we started, I think, over a drink or two, and started chatting every night. Almost, after quiz nights, we would sit there until 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Getting to know each other.
Early romance.
Yeah. So not too long from there, I think 6 months later, we moved into our own place. Just down the street, we decided to get our own place together, and that's how it started.
Is it?
10 years later, here we are.
Married for 5. Yeah, so married in 2018.
Okay.
And then I think we tried to start for a family back in 2018, and probably tried for about 3 years. And then we started to look at alternative options, seeing that it's not happening naturally. So then Vicky started to do a lot of research into what are all the alternatives.
The girls.
Yeah, obviously wanted to start a family. Because I think then when we got married, I was about 2018. I was 31.
Okay, yes. And Vicky was?
I was 28.
28.
Yeah.
Okay, that's more or
So
less
we
like
had
the
some
right
time
age.
still,
Yeah, you were young.
Wasn't too concerned. But I think as time progressed, then we realized, look, we want to start a family, and it's not happening naturally. So she's getting older, I'm getting older.
Yeah,
So,
you're aware of that?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think, that's when we started to look at.
So how many years after the marriage was this now, where you were like, hey, we thought this thing should be easy and natural. It's not happening. How long did it take you guys before you thought, okay, could there be something?
We saw that a gynae the first time at 2.5 years.
2.5,
yes,
okay.
I think at 2. I think the first year we're thinking, you know what, we won't mind if it's not happening yet. We
No
still,
pressure.
let's enjoy the married life.
Exactly.
And by the second year, you're starting to think, okay, wait, maybe we should start planning better. So then you start looking at timing in the month, from reading up. So, okay,
ovulation.
maybe we must start looking at ovulation tests. And it was around 2.5 years. He said, okay, let's maybe talk to someone and just see, what are the next steps? Should we just get tested? That's when we decided to see a gynae the first time.
So during that period where you're like, okay, let's start the ovulation test, and how was that in the relationship? Was it already at the time of tension? Because I know, especially maybe Isak can tell us, a lot of men find it very difficult, to say, hey, it's time, I'm ovulating, like run, leave the office, leave the boy boardroom, you know. How was that for you guys? How did you experience that? Because probably there's a lot of couples right now who are in that stage to say, okay, what is ovulation? How do I test for it? You know, because you do a DIY first before you seek the professionals. So how was that in the relationship? Was there tension? Was there pressure? Or you guys just took it cool and you were supportive? Or how was it?
I think at first it was fun because
Okay, I like that fun. Make it fun, guys. Make it fun.
Yeah, I think typically it's I think from a man's side is normally you would initiate it.
Yes,
and I think
yes.
now because she says, well, she knows the ovulation time, so now it's time. And
you know.
so, but I think then as it progresses, then it starts to feel like work. I think it takes out that intimacy out of the relationship.
Yeah, it becomes a chore. Like
exactly.
it's a must.
It's now.
Yeah.
Quickly we make coffee, eat some biscuits, and then it's time. So,
and then action.
Yes. So I think at first, and I think because we were together for 5-6 years before we had to go through this. It doesn't feel like it's coming naturally. It does put pressure. You start to live your life in these cycles, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
Definitely. It takes out, I think, that spontaneity and that
fun
excitement
element.
And I would be the first guy is that's the aspiration. You love your wife to initiate it, and
yes,
she would always be ready. But it does become
quite cumbersome as time goes, and it's not happening, and you feel like, okay, we need to go through it again. And then you do it, you time, and everything is fine, and then you go to the loo and it's red.
Yeah, disappointment.
Disappointments.
Yes. And I think, again, it happens over time, and I think obviously for some women it will be, some sooner, depending at, where they're at, have they been hoping from that first month, as you got married that it would happen, or, did it only start becoming a problem for you after a year or two? So I think it depends on where you are. I think for me, after, I don't know, maybe the 5th or the 6th month going into this timed thing, now it's like, okay, now it's not funny anymore.
It's not fun anymore. It really comes with that disappointment.
Yes, because I think in the beginning you also get excited to get that positive test. You're like, this is going to be the first time. I wonder, how am I going to react? How am I going to tell him? How am I going to tell the family? You start thinking ahead and planning ahead. And
that you're there already.
Yes. And after a few months of getting this negative test again, okay.
You're like, what's wrong? And you start saying, what's wrong with me? Or what's going on? Exactly. And I must tell you, for you, it was probably your very first. And I can tell you from my own experience that even if it's not your very first child, when I was trying for my second and even third pregnancy, I would go through that. I would also just test and then get to a point where the periods are delayed and you go and do the pregnancy test, and the disappointment, I would sit. My husband then was like so stressed himself, so I didn't want to bring about the pressure on, but work-wise. And so I would go through this experience myself on my own in the car, wait for the results, and since I'm the doctor, I would get it on my phone. And I'll be like, beta ECG negative, So you went through all of that, the testing, the timing, and it was not happening. And then what?
So that was when we decided I said to him, let's go see a gynae, let's just find out, what are our next steps. So we saw a doctor back in Pretoria East, and I think I was quite excited after the first appointment as well, because it sounded easy. I think there's these 5 steps. We'll start with number 1, let's see if you're ovulating. Easy, let's see when that happens, if it's happening, if everything's okay. Secondly, let's start with the husband. Let's look at the sperm count, the motility, all of those things. And it started. I think, I don't know if everyone's doing that, but I assume that we'll find the problem in step 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Fix it, move on, and everything will be okay. So I think you're still quite excited and optimistic and saying, you know what, it's going to be an easy problem to solve.
You know, now with the specialists, so, you know, we've got the big guns.
Yes. And I don't think anyone ever imagined that you would be the one, you know, struggling or getting to that place. I think you kind of think that it won't happen to me, you know.
Exactly. I think a lot of people feel that way. That,
yes.
You know, it won't be my portion.
Yes.
The moment I'm set and, you know, we'll get it and it'll be easy.
Yes. Yeah, so we started with the tests. We started off with my test. I think when we got to Isak's test, you can help me with this, doctor. I think it's the morphology.
Yes, the shape of the sperm.
Yes, the shape of the sperm. So that was a bit low. I think it was at 2% when they initially tested. So again, we said, okay, easy problem. That's something we can solve. Doctor gave us some pills. He on pills for, I think, 6 months. He said, after 6 months, let's come back and see where we at. So I remember it was around that 5th or the 6th month, we were on holiday. We had a big trip planned in the Cape, so quite an exciting holiday for us. We love playing golf, so we did like a golf tour, played all the best courses.
Now I'm going to get new golf buddies, hey? Going to teach me.
So we had a great tour plan, so I thought this is our time, because now we're 5-6 months in, so he's been taking these pills, so this nice holiday, we're going to be relaxed, because it's one of the things people tell you is relax, as if that's magically going to bring a baby. So we were stress-free on this holiday.
All the boxes.
Exactly. I just take extra vitamins and everything just to make sure. Exactly. So we went on this holiday and came back, and again, you get your period, and you're like, okay.
What just happened?
Yes.
And you end up hating that period, eh? Like, what are you doing here?
So we went back to the doctor the next month. Did the test again, and I think the morphology that it went up to like around 5%, which and I believe around 6% is normal.
Anything above 4, we say, you know, that's the normal.
So at that stage, we got to a point where we said, okay, no, that's not or that can't be the only problem. We need to do additional tests, and that's when the doctor. We didn't actually do more tests than that. That's when the doctor recommended we try IUI, and
which is intrauterine insemination. So this is where now we prepare you, we get you on medication to get you to ovulate, and we get the right timing, and and the lights down low, and and then when you are ready, then Isak gives us the sperm sample. Then we take it for a wash and cleaning, and we dress them up in bow ties and everything, and we say, oh, sperm ready. So the doctor is responsible for taking the sperm sample during the time of ovulation and transferring it into the womb. So that's the process that you were going to go through. Yes. Artificial insemination. Okay.
Yes.
And
so we did that it was December of, we're now 2021. Yes.
Okay.
That December we did our first round. Again, thinking this is all we need. So
exactly.
this is the step that we needed. We just need some help.
Yeah, I think also the doctor explained, I think, the cost compared IVF compared to IUI.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I think that's why we also said, look, we can probably do 3 or 4 rounds of IUI before you need to do an IVF. As the price comparison is more or less the same. But I think once we went through the motions of doing all of these IUI rounds, I think the emotions that goes with it and the pressure that puts on the relationship, I think then that's when, after the third round of IUI, we decided, look, now we need to look at IVF.
The next step, the next level.
Yes.
So take me through the motions and emotions and pressure, and how was that stage? We have statistics that say that infertility actually is the reason for a lot of divorces, separations. That's the stage where people actually even give up on each other or give up on the dream of having a family. How did you guys go through it? And would you say it's your friendship that got you tighter and to say we're going to work through this together as a couple? or what is it? Is it your faith that got you through that period of sadness and disappointment together, and not knowing what the problem is now? Because, I mean, the morphology we take, the semen sample is fine, the fallopian tubes are fine. What's the problem? So how did you guys go through that tension? What helped you through that period?
I think from my side, what definitely helped the relationship is being open about it. I think, I mean, I see or I hear about so many couples where mostly on the men's side, you know, it's not something they want to talk about, or it's difficult to admit that you are at this stage and you have to do this. So I think just being able to talk about, you know, and be open for these steps. Say, you know, let's go see the doctor. So I remember after the first time asking him, can we go see a gynae? And he was like, yes, let's do it. That was for me like,
that easy.
Thank you. I'm glad I don't have to beg. Or
you are the what, the 10%?
Well, I also remember I told us it feels like you're putting your life on pause, because there's a lot of things that you want to do, but now you've got this hurdle that you need to get overcome, and you're living from cycle to cycle, so you're putting a lot of stuff on pause, so that puts a lot of pressure on as well.
I get it.
Yeah, so there was definitely difficult times. I think I can see how that can be you know, for a lot of people where you
fallout.
Yes, where you go into a divorce even. I think there were moments for us where we weren't at our best. So it's definitely it's not easy. I think for us it's been one of the most challenging things in our relationship.
Is it? I can imagine.
But I think the communication, and I remember after our first appointment with you, doctor, there was a IVF book on the table, and I read a bit about it while we were sitting in the waiting room, and afterwards I tried to find it. I think I found it on Takealot.
Nice.
So I said to him, okay, because it's a his and a hers guide, so it's quite nice because there's from both sides a story, and I think that's another thing that also was quite nice for me to see with him taking the initiative reading it. So you know, you would just come downstairs, make a cup of coffee, and you see he's sitting reading the book, and I'm like, yes,
yes,
he's committed.
There's commitment. There's commitment.
So I think that book also. Well, not necessarily just that book, but I think just the willingness to read up on it and to be part of the process helps the relationship as well.
Is it? And then as you read about it, what does it say to you? Like, are you getting a relief maybe to say, oh, we're not the only ones, oh, people go through this, like getting more information? What role does that play?
I think what helped was almost what to expect.
Okay.
Because
yes.
I think, especially from the guy's side, I think that you not as part of that process, and not that it's. I don't want to say it's not that emotional. You are quite emotional about it, but it's to understand that someone has gone through it, and the type of things that they describe is what you're going through and what you're going to go through as well. So I think that helped a lot to understand the stuff that's coming, so you can plan around that as well. Yeah,
and it's not a shock to your system.
Yeah, but also to understand what she's going through, because I think, I think we as men don't always understand those emotions. But I think so. Sometimes it's like it's divided in a his and her section, the book, and sometimes I would read the section about her, so you would go what she goes through, so you can understand more how to support her on
yes.
You can't read the whole book about her because there's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay, you didn't finish the book, but it helped. So then you did your 3 cycles of IUI, and you went through the emotions and the financial investment as well. And then you decided, look, you want to try IVF.
Yes.
And then how did that go?
So our doctor also recommended it. He said, okay, 3 cycles, let's maybe look at the next step. So he referred us to another specialist. He doesn't actually do the IVF himself, so he referred us to someone else. We have seen this doctor before. However, we made an appointment. I think the appointment was due in about 3 months' time. And in that waiting time, I said to him, we've seen this doctor before, and we weren't very comfortable. I remember we came there with so many questions, but we left without any answers because there was just really no opportunity to ask questions, and he seemed a bit closed off. Okay. You almost feel too scared to ask anything. You feel a bit.
The Dr. Divina. Okay.
So we were thinking about it, and we said, okay, while we're waiting, let's just do some research. I mean, this doctor told us to go there, but I mean, he's not the only one, so let's just do some research. So I was on Google looking at all sorts of fertility specialists around the Gauteng area. I think I got a list of 4 or 5, sent some emails, got quotes, got dates availability, etc. And I remember phoning in to the Family Matters reception, and I phoned in, and they said, why don't you come and see doctor next week and you can just talk? And I said, okay, that sounds nice. Like no one has been this open and just quickly say, let's just talk, because sometimes you wait for 3 weeks just to get a response to an email. So so I said to Isak, what, we've got nothing to lose. It's one appointment. It's not expensive to do one appointment, so let's do it. Let's hear out. I mean, we don't have to go this route. We can always talk and come back and decide where we want to go. So did the appointment the next week. I remember leaving the building there. We were driving home, and I thought, I'm not going to plant any ideas into his head. Let me hear what he's got to say. So I just said, so what do you think? And he said, no, the doctor was great. It's nice to go to someone and get your questions answered, and being explained the process, almost IVF for dummies, because that is where we're at. I mean, we know nothing about this. And giving us all the pros and cons from IUI to IVF, because I think at that stage we weren't sure, do we try another 2-3 rounds? I mean, I'm following pages on Facebook, and you see people do 9 rounds and then it works. So I think, maybe the 4th round is ours. How do you decide that? So I think what really helped us when we came to see you, doctor, is to ask, how do we decide now on IUI and IVF? And what helped a lot is didn't push us into any direction. Is here's the pros and cons of each option, and you decide what's best for you. So we left there, and I think the answer that helped us is when you said that IVF is more diagnostic. We can see where it's going wrong, because I think that was a difficult thing for us during IUI. Is it doesn't work, and you look,
what's
why?
the problem?
And no one can tell you. It's not,
it's a blind procedure.
Is it actually,
still.
yes, at what point is it failing? So I think that was the thing for us, where we said, I think we need answers now. We can't continue to do this hoping at some point it's going to work. And that's how we decided, let's try IVF. If whether it works or not, if we can at least get to that next answer to say, what, this is the point where something is failing, and you can take it from there. So that's how we decided on IVF, and I think we contacted your offices the next day, and they said, well, you can start with your next cycle. So let's get going.
Yeah, because I guess when you came in, you had recent results already. We just needed a few tests done, and we needed the semen analysis as well. And then, so we got you prepared, and then you had to start your IVF process. How was that, knowing, look, we're going the next level now, and as mentioned, IVF is diagnostic and therapeutic at the same time. We know what the problem is, where the problem lies, and we can get treatment. So how was that, knowing that you're about to embark on this process? Some people don't even sleep at night. I don't know, like, how does that feel?
It is a lot of mixed emotions, I think. That's, and I think that's where the emotions come in. Like you feel different from morning to afternoon to the evening. It's at one point it's excitement. So you've got excitement, thinking, okay, we're going to find some answers. We're going to get somewhere. Potentially in 10, 11 months' time, we'll have a baby. So you start thinking about all of those things, and then you're also thinking, how did we get here? Why are we in this place that we have to do this? And you feel, why is it? I remember feeling a lot that it's unfair, that other people just have a one-night stand.
Exactly, and they're pregnant. And I hear that word a lot, unfair.
that is something that came up a lot for me. I think for me it was I remember while you're feeling emotional, I think I was in a stage where I think I was jealous a lot of other people, and also having this, I say unfair is probably the biggest thing, where you hear about someone and you try to be happy for them, but it's
you're like, why me? Why not me?
I think that some of the biggest difficulty she struggled with, and I struggled with it as well, is if there was a baby shower or
those.
I think those, she couldn't go to baby showers, and we had some friends that also had babies quite close to
because
that.
Now you're at that age, you know. I would get patients telling me that, oh, look, all my friends are popping. We're in our 30s, early 30s, and everybody is getting married and popping, but it's not happening for us.
Yes. Now that is the difficult part, and I think maybe this is not for everyone, but I started also judging a lot on those things. So for me, if someone was pregnant or they had a baby and they were complaining a lot about things, you know, they're complaining that I'm not sleeping or those things. I'm like, do not complain. You should be happy where you are.
Be grateful you have what you have.
So yes, it's a difficult. I think there's a lot of I call it anger in me in that stage where you know, I find it difficult to be happy for this. I think we were just in a place where
natural. It's all natural.
And I think that's where the books and things help us to see that you're not alone. You know, I've read so many things where people say it's okay to be angry, it's okay to feel jealous, it's okay to not go to baby showers. You know, take that time for yourself and say, you know what, I don't have to go. And don't surround yourself around things that make you feel this way. So I think those books and you know, Facebook posts, those groups that's in there, helps a lot.
Yes, I understand you've been quite active in Facebook and, you know, tell us about that.
I came across some groups specifically for South Africa. I think initially I joined a group that is, you know, there's people from the USA and everywhere, but you struggle to relate. I think there's very different protocols and rules around it. So eventually I found their South African groups, and it was quite nice to relate
Support
to.
groups.
So just being able to read what somebody's going through and like, you know, I'm not alone, and there's somebody who understands. And I think to see, for me, it was also what I'm grateful for the process as well is I've learned a lot. You know, you kind of think there's 2 or 3 things that needs to go right for you to have a baby, and you start looking at all these reasons and you're like, wow, there's hundreds of things that needs to fall into place. It's actually a miracle to think people can, you know, just have sex for one night and then it is, because there's so many things that play a part to forming this baby. So it was very knowledgeable for me to see what are all the different reasons and the different things people are going through. And so I liked following the groups. I'm still on the groups. I'm still following, and you still see a lot of sad stories. But it's also nice to see the success that came out of it, because there's now a follow-up group on, you know, pregnancy after IVF.
Oh, is there? Okay,
yes.
okay.
So it's nice to see the success stories as well.
Okay, no, that's amazing. And I've come across women that have come to see me saying, hey, there's this lady on Facebook and she said she had a success story, and, you know, and you've been quite encouraging, and you've been that, you know, you brought that beacon of hope to a lot of women, a lot of couples, and I must actually thank you for that. And please be encouraged to continue motivating other people not to give up on the dream.
No, it's very great to hear that. We are saying it's, when you look at some of the posts where people are saying, you know, it's a Saturday, my cycle is due to start, and I'm not sure, you know, should I start my injections tomorrow? What's happening? The doctor's not answering. What can I do? And the people are so stressed, and I think, I feel so sorry for them, because I remember this was something that was great for me, as I did a few times on a Saturday or on a random evening, just send a WhatsApp, said, can you please give me some answers? You know, my period came a bit earlier. What now? Am I supposed to see doctor tomorrow? And I always got quick responses. You know, I I was never left in the dark. I knew, and I think I had a few appointments that was on a public holiday, or if that's what the cycle calls for, then you have to do it.
I think Doctor drove from the Drakensberg.
Yes, I remember.
One that we
I think it was the egg retrieval was on a public holiday, and you were in the Drakensberg on holiday, so you came back. So how can you not promote this on Facebook? So that's what I'm saying. For me, it was such a great experience that I just, when I read how other people are struggling, and I've read some people saying, you know what, I have to miss the whole cycle because somebody wasn't available to assist me on a day,
it's a setback.
It's difficult because I mean we had setbacks that was
6 weeks. I mean, it feels like forever.
Because we had one or two of those setbacks that wasn't in our control or in your control, and that is difficult. So I can't imagine having to skip a cycle, because someone is not available to see you.
Yeah. And I understand when couples are going through this, each day matters. Each day counts, I had a lady yesterday who's got a lot of eggs, and I'm like, look, we're going to just freeze everything and you're going to take a month. Sometimes it's 2 months to recover. It's like, no, transfer either way. I'm like, no, we're not going to risk your life,
Yes.
So each month is a possibility. That's how you feel.
And we were in that same boat after the egg retrieval. I mean, we were expecting to do this fresh transfer. So, you do egg retrieval, and I think 3 days later we would do the transfer. So you're already in your head, you've got planned, okay, this is transfer. Yeah, I'm going to do my test. In 9 months' time, we're going to have a baby. So, sorry, December, we can't do this. So you plan your whole life around this.
Goes that far.
Now you think far ahead. And I think that's where we also got the news afterwards of the overstimulation. We said, let's wait a month. That is difficult news.
It was a difficult month, of waiting and doing nothing.
Yes.
And to us, it's like we allowing your body to recover. We don't want to risk. We want you to have a healthy pregnancy. We're going to freeze everything. Let's rest. But you really feel like, ooh, wasted time, wasted opportunity. Wow. And that has to do with all the anxiety that's actually building up, and you want to reach this goal. So when you had to start with your injections and all of that, take us through that process. How was it? Who was doing your injections? Did he become your nurse overnight?
Yes, I've got my nurse here. I'm very grateful for that. Yes, Isak helped me with it. It's something that I thought from day one, I don't know if I'm capable of doing it myself. It sounds scary.
Like sticking a needle into yourself.
Yes. So Isak helped with that. I think also maybe your first month, it's part of the excitement as well. So it's also a lot of mixed emotions. The first month, it's, you're going through all these things and you're tracking, okay, I have to take a pill at this time and I have to do an injection here. And does add a bit of stress, having to you're trying to do everything perfect.
Yes, by the book. And you've got that chart from your doctor saying 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 7 p.m., injection.
And you wonder, what happened if I sleep late and I do it at 7:30? Will it be a problem? And I think that's part of, again, what I'm saying, it was so nice having that WhatsApp channel where we can ask, I missed it this morning, is it okay if I take it tonight? And somebody can answer you, because I think a lot of people don't get that feedback.
That support system.
And it doesn't help in this process to have more anxiety. I think you've already got so much on your mind to now sit with I missed something this morning, what effect is that going to have? At that stage, you're reading stuff, people tend to think that, if you have a cup of coffee, then maybe you're going to mess up everything, or, if you have a glass of wine at the wrong time, or, you really analyze every bit of your life.
Where you go shopping, what's your grocery list, and...
Yes, should I lie down after my injection?
Oh my word. And then you went through the processes. Just take us through the IVF journey now. You did the injections, and how's the process for people who don't know what IVF is. So it stands for in vitro fertilization. So now this is where we say we're going to give you injections to grow the eggs, and then you keep seeing the doctor every 5 days, 3 days, and then they do the sonar, and we watch, and we're looking for a certain growth of the follicles, which we take it that each follicle houses an egg, and then when we say yes, and even that probably is an anxiety process to you, to say, are they growing, how many?
Yes.
And and we go through the sonars, and then when we feel that the follicles are ready, we take you through the process of aspiration, and we tell you you're going to trigger on this day. So the trigger injection is what makes the eggs to mature, to go through their final division and mature and rupture. But now we don't want them to rupture inside you. We need to have things specifically on the clock to say you inject at this time, and 36 hours after your injection, we are going to take the eggs out. And then we put a drip up, you are sedated, there's no pain, there's no cuts, nothing. You go into New Zealand, Mauritius, wherever you'll be going under sedation. And then we take the eggs out, aspirate, and get them into the lab. He gives us sperm sample that same day, and then we fertilize, and then we tell you how many eggs were there, and the next day we tell you about fertilization and so on. So how was that whole process for you?
So again, like I said, I like all the knowledge. So this was great for me, is to get all this information from you. I think in one of those first appointments, when you explain it in this detail, say, this injection is going to help them grow, and at this point it's going to be the trigger. So it was nice to get all of that information, and then I think that helps the process a little bit from the emotional side, because now you've got this excitement. I like the information, so I like to learn. What's going to happen next?
What am I doing?
Yes, knowing what's happening to your body and what's going on. I remember the appointments. Each one, it is, like you said, it's stressful on its own. So going there for the scan to check, you think, let's just hope, are there follicles? Are they big enough? And I think luckily in that process, everything happened during that month the way it should. So every time we left there, we were like, yes.
Yes, we're winning. We're getting a step closer.
So all those small wins help you through the process. I think that is the nicer thing about it, is that there's so many things happening in the month that you get these small wins. You don't have, whereas we in this waiting stage, like after the egg retrieval, we have to wait a month. Then it's a month of doing nothing. Then you feel like you're just sitting there. Doing nothing, waiting until you can get started again. So at least when you're on the meds and doing scans, there's something to look forward to. There's something to say, by tomorrow we'll know what's going to happen next. So it's an interesting time. Lots of ups and downs.
And then tell us now your outcome. So how many eggs were retrieved? And how many embryos were formed? What is the report you got from Family Matters Fertility Center Laboratory? What did they tell you? What were your outcomes? Because they had already told you that IVF is diagnostic and therapeutic.
Yes.
So you went in with that in mind, and you waiting now for a diagnosis and therapy. So what was the feedback?
So we got 17 eggs. Which, again, from my Facebook experience, felt like it was a good win. I got a lot of eggs.
Okay, good.
Out of that, 14 fertilized.
Okay.
14 matured.
Mature, yes.
14 matured.
That's good. I can tell you that. Okay, yes.
Yes, and I remember the embryologist calling us, and he said that he decided to do ICSI on 7 of them and normal IVF on the other 7. I don't know if you want to explain the ICSI process.
The ICSI process. So what happened there is that we divided the eggs into 50-50. So because we didn't have any abnormalities in the sperm or issues with the eggs, I mean, you guys were both young. Your semen analysis had already improved. By the time you came to us, it was good. We didn't know what exactly is the problem. Why are you not falling pregnant naturally? So we gave them enough chance. So usually if you have a normal semen and egg, we do what is normal fertilization, where we just pour the sperm over the egg, and the egg is the one that chooses, okay, I want this one, I'll accept this one, So that is called natural fertilization. So that is IVF, in vitro fertilization. It's just that it's happening in the lab. We've just changed the environment, but the process of penetrating the egg still happens naturally. And then in ICSI, it's called it stands for intracytoplasmic sperm injection, where we look at the sperm, we look at the best swimmers, we look at the most handsome guys, the shape, the neck, and the tail, and then we choose. So instead of 39 million sperm going over to the egg, we know we've got 7 eggs, we choose 7 best looking guys. And then we take the sperm and we inject the sperm. We help the sperm to penetrate the egg. So we've got a small needle. It's a big microscopic equipment. And we stabilize the egg and inject the sperm into the egg, and fertilization will take place. So the processes, the natural processes of enzymes and all of that are overcome by us going straight. And the sperm is able to go through the eggshell directly into the cytoplasm or the center of the egg. And then fertilization takes place. So what happened with you guys?
So I was very happy to hear that that's what they decided. I mean, obviously we didn't have the knowledge to say, please do ICSI. We didn't ask for anything specific. So I'm glad he used his expert opinion and said, let's do this. Let's do the split. And he called us the next day, and out of the 7 that did normal fertilization, none of them fertilized. And out of the 7 that he did ICSI on, 6 out of the 7 fertilized.
So that was your diagnosis. You'd like, boom, voila. Exactly. So this is what was happening in the body naturally, because as I said, it's natural fertilization. So all these years you've been trying, and this is what has been happening in the body. No fertilization was taking place. So the penetration, the meeting of the egg and the sperm was actually not happening. That's when IVF was done, and we left it to natural fertilization. And then when ICSI was done, all of them fertilized.
Yes.
And that was a win. That was another win.
And that is a great feeling to get that answer. I think that's when we realized we could have done another 10 IUIs, and if it's not fertilizing, it's not fertilizing.
It's not fertilizing.
So you need this help. I think seeing that, okay, it was, for somebody to just basically do that extra bit, that help that you need to get there. That's all we needed. So that was great news, I think, for us. It helped answer some questions. So we had the 6 embryos to work with and take the process further from that. Because we couldn't do the fresh transfer, all 6 of them were frozen. And I think that's where the next big decisions come in, is do you transfer 1 or 2 or 3
okay.
embryos? So again, lots and lots of research, reading, phoning a friend, and we decided in our first frozen transfer to do just 1 embryo. And
I think that's what doctor had said as well, that single embryo transfer
yes.
versus double,
And I think for us it was just around the risk. You're already going through so much to get here. You don't want a riskier pregnancy. Obviously with multiples come a bit of a riskier pregnancy.
Yes.
So I said, you know what, we've been trying this long just to have a baby. So 1 baby, and again, we've been waiting so long. So if this 1 doesn't work, you've got 5 more to work for. So 1, let's start there. We've got another 5 to try, and we can decide again the next month. So we decided on the 1 embryo, which we did that, I think. So from the egg retrieval, that was in April 2022. We did our first frozen transfer in June. And that wasn't successful. So again,
how was that?
I think that was the worst negative pregnancy yet.
Lots of tears.
No,
the emotions was quite tough to deal with.
I think
disappointment, I think, was tough.
Yeah, I think that was one of the most difficult days, because now you thought, you know what, now I've been through it all. We've gotten all the help we needed. We thought, okay, here we found the problem. This is what it is. Now we've got embryos that's been formed. We've actually gotten to this point. So what can go wrong?
Look, we've used the science, we've used faith, we've used, you know.
So that was a difficult pill to swallow. I think that following week we came to see you again, and I also remember something you said that made us feel a lot better when we left there, is that there's still a couple of things that needs to fall into place. You still got the timing. There's a few things that need to happen after that, and if you take couples that conceive naturally, it can take, I think you said on average it's 9 months, and please just correct if I've got the wrong facts. Obviously don't want to give the wrong facts here, but on average it takes 9 months to fall pregnant naturally. So with us doing IVF now, finding this problem first time, it could in essence take us 9 months on average to fall pregnant from this, because there's still a few other things that needs to happen. So we said, okay, we don't have to rush this.
Doctor, hey,
Can you believe it? So it helps to get that kind of feedback. You just again feel, this is not something that should be rushed, although we know it's not that easy. It's like you said, we want everything to happen now. So you do realize, okay, let's just be a bit more patient as much as you can.
And then we went through the second one. And then I remember we thought one embryo for you. And we were ready, like we're transferring. And then you guys came in and you're like, 2 please. Double impact. How was that for you guys? And we're like, no, but we're like, it's gonna take another 2 hours to thaw. And you're like, we'll wait. Take us through that.
Yeah, I think we said, look, we've got, there's 2 embryos left. Let's take the 2 and then hope for at least 1.
So just to explain where we got to the 2, because we actually had 5 left after, because we had the 6.
Yes.
So what doctor recommended after we saw you, or some of the options we were given is, let's take the 5 embryos to day 5, because they were at day 3 at that stage, and let's see how they go. Because I think we also, obviously with the first round, we took the best quality one. So now we getting a bit negative. We're thinking, the 5 quality is just getting less. So what are the chances of them working? So we said, now that we know what the problem is, now that we found this diagnosis and we know that ICSI is working, let's kind of use up all our embryos. And if that fails and we have to do another egg retrieval, we can get all of them ICSI, and we can get many good quality. We can do it better. We've learned a lot from this process. So that's what doctor suggested, and we decided, okay, let's take the 5 to day 5, and then only the 2 made it to day 5 out of those 5. So that's where we ended up with the 2 embryos.
Yeah, so decided to take the 2, so at least have the success of 1. I remember the embryologist said, it's going to take about 2 hours to thaw them. We went for lunch. We're still joking, it's the most expensive lunch that we've taken.
Really?
Ended up in 2 babies.
Then came back and then had the transfer of the 2. Because I think also we didn't want to go through another month of we're trying 1 and then it wasn't successful. So we said, let's take what we've got. And then, if that fails, then again, we've learned out of it and we can move on. So I think we're also trying to spare our emotions, the stress and the pressure that puts on you.
You're like, let's just get it over now.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I wasn't in a very good place. I thought, I was very negative about that round. I thought, if our best quality one didn't make it, maybe there's something else wrong. So we said, let's use up these 2 and let's do another full round. So I was more getting ready for another round to say, let's do it better this time. Let's, do as many as possible in ICSI. Hopefully not overstimulate again, so we can maybe do a fresh transfer. Okay. So just see how we can do that again. So I think that's how we decided on transferring both. We said, let's
go for the both.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Now it all feels like a blur, but it must have been.
We were actually playing golf, and then you got the results of the blood test where it
Where that to double.
ECG.
It doubled, So then we know there were 2.
we suspected because it was
Yeah.
It was
quite
a high value.
Yeah.
Mm.
I remember the morning when she came back with the pregnancy test. She was actually like shivering. She said, it's
Oh
a
my
positive.
word!
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
very first positive.
Yeah,
Woo!
Yes.
Do you guys remember the dates? Do you remember? Oh my
I remember it
word.
was a Thursday. Yeah, it was the 4th of August.
Yes, I knew it. I knew it. Especially she.
You won't
Okay.
remember that.
Yeah.
As long as you remember our anniversary, it's okay.
Yeah, you're off the hook.
Yeah, it was the 4th of August because my blood test was due on the 5th, on the Friday. So the 4th of August, I decided, like I think most women do, is I'm not going to wait for my blood test. I'll do a home pregnancy test. So I did it the day before, and it was one of the digital ones. It says 1 to 2 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling, except it's the first time. I mean, going through, more than, I think by then we were over 3 years, almost 3.5 years of trying to conceive to get that first positive out of a couple of boxes, empty boxes
my
that's in the
word.
drawer.
A couple of pregnancy tests.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so that was amazing. I remember my friend asked me, so how did you tell Isak? Because I had all these plans beforehand of, how I can show him. And I was like, there was nothing. I just came out of the bathroom. I'm like, look.
No, it was all impromptu. No planning.
Nothing special. Basically waking up with a pea stick in his face.
Oh my word. Amazing.
Yeah, so
And then here we are now. And guys, thank you for allowing us the opportunity, and really congrats. I would like to see our bundle of joy. I understand you brought them here today.
Yes.
Can I please waltz them in? Hello guys. How are you? What are your names?
So this one's Leah.
And
This is
cuddly.
Leah. And Carly. Carly is so cuddly, and you're like smiling, hey? Oh, now Leah, you're smiling because you're in front of mommy. I am so happy to meet you. We met some time ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
During
so
some ICSI and warming of embryos and congratulations, guys. How does it feel?
No, this is the best thing ever. Yeah, it's difficult to explain. I think looking back now, I wouldn't want it any different. I'm now grateful for the process. I don't think we would have had these two.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the process. Thank you for closing in prayer for us, Leah. Once again, congratulations. I am so happy to see you having achieved your dream of having your own family. And well done, and thank you for sticking it out. It has not been an easy journey, and this goes out to everybody out there who's also trying to conceive. We are here and we've just shared the experience that really nothing was obvious as to what the problem was. We didn't have all the answers, but we went through the processes, and it was not an easy journey. Nobody promises easy, but it is worth sticking out. Congrats, guys, and thank you so much on behalf of Family Matters Fertility Center. We love you. Mwah!
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You are most welcome.
Cannot thank you enough.